Men and women of this gathering, students of life, seekers of truth, listen not as to an orator who flatters, but as to one who calls your spirit to rise from slumber. For the hours of our days are few, and they pass as swiftly as leaves in autumn carried by the wind. To waste them in drifting is to betray the gift of being born a man. You have come with questions that haunt every thoughtful soul. What is my path? Why do I feel lost? What is the purpose of trial and failure? How can one live according to nature when the world tempts us otherwise? What is the difference between the rational man and the beast within him? These are not idle curiosities. They are the marrow of existence. And so, for the span of an hour or more, I shall speak as a guide, not with promises of ease, but with truths hammered in the furnaces of experience. I will borrow voices greater than mine: Socrates, who questioned until the heart was exposed; Seneca, who urged calm amidst storms; Epictetus, once a slave, who taught freedom of the soul; Marcus, who bore the empire's burden and yet sought virtue over glory. We will walk together, slowly, through valleys of doubt, over hills of trial, until the horizon clears. And when the words are finished, may you leave not with answers ready-made, but with fire enough to ask yourself, what life shall I now live? To feel lost, my student, is no shame. It is the sign that you are awake. The man who never doubts, who moves as if all were certain, is either a fool or deceiving himself. The gods have not carved directions into the stones of the earth. They gave us reason to discern, will to choose, and conscience to weigh our steps. If you wander, it is because you are free. Think of Odysseus, who after Troy's fall did not walk a straight road home, but was tossed upon seas, deceived by Circe, detained by Calypso, swallowed by storms. Was he lost? Yes. But in being lost, he became wise, cunning, enduring. His wanderings were not a waste. They were the shaping of his character. So with us. If you feel unmoored, rejoice. You are at the beginning of philosophy. For philosophy begins in the confession, I do not know. But though you are lost, you are not abandoned. You carry within you a compass, not of iron, but of mind. Epictetus reminds us, of things, some are in our power, and some are not. Attend to this compass. Ask of each anxiety, is this mine to govern, or is it the wind? If it is yours, your thoughts, your choices, your actions, then steer with strength. If it belongs to fortune, death, reputation, the tongues of others, let it pass like the tide. By this simple division, you will walk with steadiness, though the map be hidden. Now let us speak of purpose, for here lies the hunger of the soul. Many waste their years seeking purpose, as if it were a crown hidden in a cave, waiting for the fortunate to stumble upon it. They chase one craft, then another, one city, then another, always dissatisfied, always restless. They say, I cannot find my purpose. But student, purpose is not found. Purpose is made. Just as the mason does not find a temple lying in the quarry, but shapes it stone by stone, so you must shape your reason into a purpose by daily labor. The gods did not whisper to Leonidas, stand at Thermopylae. No, circumstance presented the Persian tide, and Leonidas chose to stand, to make his life a bulwark of courage. Purpose arises when strength meets necessity. Ask yourself not, what grand destiny awaits me? Ask rather, what is within my power today that will serve both myself and others with integrity? If your hand heals, then heal. If your mind orders chaos, then govern. If your heart steadies others, then lead. Do not despise small duties. The recruit who swept the yard while others trained learned more of command than they, for he mastered himself in obscurity, and when the storm came, men trusted him. Purpose is not a throne, it is a fire. You tend it with each act of virtue, kindness where hatred tempts, courage where fear claws, discipline where sloth whispers. Feed it so, and one day you will look back and see that the fire has become a beacon, and men will call you purposeful, though you never sought the name. Let us descend now into the furnace. Failure, trial, disappointment. These are the teachers none invite, yet all must obey. The youth who fears failure is like a soldier who fears the drill. He dreams of battle glory, but shrinks from the sweat of training. What is he worth when the trumpet sounds? A man untested is clay still wet. He bends, he cracks, he dissolves. But the man who has failed, who has been hammered by trial, bears the strength of iron. Consider the athlete. He thanks the weight that resists him, for it builds his strength. Should he demand lighter burdens, then he remains frail. So too with life. Every insult, every loss, every betrayal, these are weights. They feel cruel, but if borne with reason, they train your soul in endurance, humility, and courage. Seneca writes, "Fire tests gold, adversity tests brave men. Do not curse failure then. Record it, study it. Ask, what stirred my anger? What fed my vanity? Where did I falter? Learn, and the same trial will not undo you again. Thus failure becomes tuition, and trial becomes the price of greatness." Even Marcus, emperor of Rome, confessed that often he rose unwillingly, weary of endless duty. Yet he rebuked himself. "I was born not for sleep, but for duty, for the work of man." If even he stumbled, shall we despair when we fall? Number we shall rise as he did, and in rising become stronger. But what does it mean, this phrase we Stoics repeat, to live according to nature? It does not mean to wander in forests or to follow every impulse of appetite. No, it means to align your life with reason, with the order that governs all. Nature prunes. The vintner cuts living branches so the vine may sweeten. Will you complain when life cuts from you comfort, ease, even friends? Accept the pruning. Bear fruit. Nature moves. The river does not hoard its water, but flows. So act. Do not delay in endless speculation. Do what virtue bids, even if the outcome is uncertain. Nature serves the whole. The bee does not keep honey for itself alone. The hand does not strike against the foot. You too are born not for yourself, but for mankind. Serve, then, in the place appointed to you, whether great or small. Yet living so is not easy. The crowd mocks virtue, temptations glitter, appetites pull. Here, reason must be your citadel. Add the Stoic reservation to every hope. I will do this, if nothing prevents. Thus you work bravely, yet yield lightly when fortune denies. In this way you move with the current of nature, not against it. Now let us enter the battlefield within, the conflict between the rational man and the beast that dwells beneath his skin. For in every one of us there are two voices, the voice of appetite, sudden and loud, and the voice of reason, quiet but enduring. The one says, eat, take, strike, sleep, indulge, rage. The other says, wait, consider, weigh, choose. To be human is to stand between these voices and to decide which shall command. The animal in us is not evil, it is ancient. It is the wolf that once kept us alive, the lion that defended us from harm, the stag that sought mate and food. But nature, having raised us beyond the brute, gave us the divine spark of reason, not to extinguish the beast, but to govern it. A man without instinct is a stone. A man without reason is a beast. A man with instinct ruled by reason is a king. Look upon Achilles. His wrath was like fire. It consumed friend and foe alike. When slighted by Agamemnon, he withdrew, letting his comrades bleed while he sulked in his tent. Was he strong? Yes, in body. But his ungoverned rage made him weak in soul. He was not free, he was slave to anger. Contrast him with Odysseus, who curbed his fury, hid his pride, and by cunning returned home at last. The one was lion, the other man. Reason, then, must be the reins. Imagine your instincts as powerful horses, Hunger, lust, ambition, anger. Left loose, they gallop you into ruin. Lashed cruelly, they die, and you are left without strength. But yoked and guided, they draw the chariot of your life swiftly and surely. Hunger, disciplined, becomes strength through training. Desire, directed, becomes devotion to family. Ambition, tempered, becomes service. Anger, purified, becomes a shield for the innocent. In this harmony, the rational soul does not deny the animal, it ennobles it. Ask yourself, who commands me now? When you eat, is it reason that chooses, or gluttony that shovels? When you speak, is it truth shaped by justice, or vanity seeking applause? When you strike, is it to defend the weak, or to soothe your own wounded pride? At each moment, a man is either ruler of himself or subject to his passions. Which are you? But how does one train reason to command? Not by wish, but by practice. The soldier does not become steadfast in battle by hoping. He drills until his body obeys. So with the soul. You must drill your reason daily until it rules without trembling. Begin with small victories. When hunger bids you eat, wait a moment. Ask, is this necessary? When anger rises, pause before speech. Ask, will this serve justice or only my pride? When desire tempts you, step back. Ask, will this strengthen me or enslave me? These pauses are the exercises of the rational man. With each restraint, the leash grows stronger. With each indulgence, weaker. Do not imagine you will master yourself in a day. Even Marcus confessed his failures. Epictetus, though free in spirit, limped in body from the cruelty of a master. Seneca, though he wrote nobly, admitted his lapses into wealth and comfort. Perfection is not required, progress is. Each day, a step further from slavery to impulse, a step closer to liberty of the soul. Let me remind you of history, for men have walked this contest before you. Consider Alexander, who conquered nations, but could not conquer his thirst for wine. He subdued Asia, but his own rage led him to murder his friend Clitus in a drunken frenzy. Was he master of the world? Yes. Was he master of himself? No. He was emperor outwardly, but a slave inwardly. His empire dissolved after his death, as all empires built on passion must. Now consider Socrates. When the city condemned him unjustly to death, his disciples wept. They urged him to escape. Yet he drank the hemlock calmly, reasoning that to flee would betray the laws he had lived by. Which man was freer? Alexander, who could command armies but not himself, or Socrates, who could command himself even unto death? Judge wisely. But why is reason our proper ruler? Because it is the part of us most akin to the divine order of the universe. Look at the stars. They move not by appetite, but by law. Look at the seasons. They follow reason's measure, not whim. Even the body, when healthy, obeys balance, not excess. Shall man alone, who has been given the gift of reflection, choose chaos? No. To live according to reason is to live in harmony with the same order that governs the heavens. Yet reason is not cold stone. It is fire disciplined. A man ruled by reason is not barren, but fruitful. His friendships are deeper, for they are chosen with discernment. His love is nobler, for it is governed by devotion, not lust. His courage is truer, for it is steady, not reckless. His joy is purer, for it is not built on fragile indulgence, but on the unshakable ground of virtue. Imagine a fortress. The gates are your senses, always open to impressions, sights, sounds, words. The guards are your instincts, quick to sound alarm, quick to strike. But the commander must be reason, deciding whether to admit or resist. Without reason, the guards fight among themselves, opening gates to friend and foe alike. The fortress falls. With reason, the guards are disciplined, the gates secure, the walls unbreached. You too are such a fortress. Will you let every appetite storm your gates? Or will you station reason as commander? Therefore treat each day as a campaign. Rise with the dawn, reminding yourself, Today I shall meet the meddler, the ingrate, the arrogant, the envious, the selfish. They are as natural as thorns on a rose. Why should you be surprised? Arm yourself with patience. When temptation whispers, remember, this is a test. When insult strikes, remember, this is training. When failure falls, remember, this is the forge. The rational man does not pray for ease, but for strength equal to the hour. Student, philosophy is not meant to drift as vapor. It is to be hammered into us by example, so that our eyes see and our hearts believe. Let us turn now to the annals of history, where men have faced the same storms that batter you today. Their robes and weapons differ, but their passions are the same: fear, lust, ambition, pride, and their salvation the same: reason, discipline, virtue. Let us stand with Leonidas at Thermopylae. He knew he was doomed. The Persian tide was too vast. Yet he chose to remain with his 300, not because he believed he would live, but because he believed courage itself must live. He planted his life like a banner, so that Greece might remember, men can choose virtue over survival. His death purchased not only time for his people, but immortality for his name. And what lesson does he leave us? That purpose is not in victory, but in fidelity to principle. He lost his life, but he kept his soul. Now let us walk with Cincinnatus, the Roman farmer. Called from his plough to save Rome, he took command, crushed her enemies, and when power lay in his hands, what did he do? He laid it down, returning to his farm. He showed that greatness is not seizing power, but refusing it when virtue demands. He was ruler of Rome, not because he held the fasces, but because he held himself. Or let us sit with Socrates in the prison cell. His friends urge escape. Drink the poison? Flee, master, flee. But Socrates answers, I have lived by the laws of Athens. Shall I now betray them? I have taught men that justice is greater than life. Shall I now teach them by example that life is greater than justice? He drinks and dies free. Athens killed him, but philosophy made him immortal. And finally, let us look to Marcus Aurelius. Surrounded by war, plagued by sickness, betrayed by friends, burdened with empire, yet each night he wrote to himself, reminding his soul, be humble, be just, remember death, accept fate, live according to nature. He bore the heaviest crown as if it were but a cloak. His true empire was not Rome, but his own mind. Do you see, student? The same battle wages in every age. Instinct against reason, selfishness against virtue, comfort against duty. The weapons differ, the field differs, but the war is the same. And if they, mortal as you, prevailed or fell, but fell nobly, so may you. But here I must warn you. Power, sought wrongly, corrupts the soul. Men crave it, imagining it will bring freedom. Yet how often has power turned emperors into slaves of ambition, conquerors into beggars of praise? Power without virtue is a fire in dry grass. It burns bright, then consumes itself. True power begins with mastery of the self. He who cannot command his tongue is ruled by others' ears. He who cannot bridle his anger is led by his enemies like a bull by the nose. He who cannot restrain his desires is owned by the objects he lusts for. Do not call such men powerful. Call them prisoners with gilded chains. Seneca said, no man is free who is a slave to his body. And Epictetus, once himself a slave, told his students, you may chain my leg, but not my will. You may flog me, but not compel me to hate. Who, then, was truly free? The Emperor Nero, who commanded armies yet trembled at every whisper, or Epictetus, who limped but walked in liberty of soul? Use power rightly, student. Seek not to dominate, but to serve. The leader is not he who gathers followers for vanity, but he who, by steadiness, gives others strength. Think of the pilot of a ship. He commands, yes, but for what? To bring all safely through the storm. Authority divorced from service is tyranny. Authority married to service is stewardship. You may never command an army, but you command a household, a friendship, a craft, a soul. Rule these with justice, courage, and temperance, and you wield a power greater than emperors, the power to leave the world better than you found it. Now let us descend from lofty examples to the soil of daily practice. For philosophy that dwells only in books and speeches is like a sword left in its sheath, polished, admired, but useless in battle. The discipline of the rational man must be lived daily until it shapes habit as the river shapes stone. Let your day be a liturgy, a ritual of reason. When you rise, give thanks, not to fortune, not to wealth, but to the simple fact, I have awoken, I am alive, I still have time to practice virtue. Do not grumble that you must work, but remind yourself, I was born for duty, as the eye for seeing, the hand for working, the heart for beating. When you meet others, expect resistance. Marcus wrote, Today I shall meet the busybody, the ungrateful, the arrogant, the deceitful. Why then, are you surprised when you do? Are you surprised when a fig tree bears figs? Are you angry when a dog barks? So too, men act according to their nature. Your task is not to be like them, but to act according to yours, patient, just, rational. When you labor, do it fully. Do not waste time in complaint. The bee does not argue before it makes honey. The soldier does not demand applause before he marches. The work itself is dignity. When insult strikes, pause. Ask yourself, am I harmed, or only my pride? No insult can wound the soul unless the soul consents. The stone does not bruise when barked at by a dog. Shall you be softer than stone? When temptation whispers, pleasure, vanity, idleness, answer it as you would a child, calmly, firmly, without anger. Not now, not this. I have greater work. When evening comes, withdraw into yourself. Examine the day. Where did I govern well? Where did I falter? Do not excuse yourself. Do not flog yourself. Record it as a judge records a case, clearly, honestly. Resolve to improve tomorrow. Then release the day as an archer releases the arrow. What is past is not yours to hold. This is the liturgy of the rational man. Gratitude at dawn, patience at noon, justice in action, self-command in passion, reflection at night. Repeat. Repeat until it becomes you, as breath becomes the body. Do not despise repetition. The musician repeats scales, the soldier drills maneuvers, the athlete lifts the same weight. Why? To be ready when the true hour comes. So too, practice virtue in the small things, so that when the great trial comes, you will not tremble. Do not say, I will act bravely when war comes. No, act bravely when insulted by a neighbor. Do not say, I will be just when I am rich. No, be just when tempted to cheat in small sums. Do not say, I will master myself when love or loss comes. No, master yourself when hunger bids you eat more than you need. The great hour only reveals what the small hours have trained. Student, we must not shrink from the subject men most avoid, death. For to live wisely, one must learn to die daily. The fear of death is the root of many errors. Greed, as men hoard to escape mortality. Ambition, as men crave statues to outlast their flesh. Cowardice, as men cling to life though virtue demands sacrifice. Remove this fear, and you remove the chain that binds the soul. Marcus Aurelius wrote, You may leave life at any moment. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Death is not a punishment. It is nature returning her loan. Do you curse the sunset for ending the day? Do you rage at autumn for stripping the leaves? No. You know the cycle, and you accept it. Why then should you tremble when your own season draws to close? You are a part of nature, not apart from her. As you entered without asking, so you must leave without complaint. Seneca urged, Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. What does this mean? It means live, so that each evening you may say, if I do not wake, I have lived enough. I have acted with justice. I have sought truth. I have not wasted the day. Socrates, facing his execution, told his disciples, death is either a deep, dreamless sleep or a journey to another place. If sleep, then no pain. If journey, then a chance to meet Homer, Hesiod, and the great souls of the past. Why fear either? Thus he drank the poison without trembling. The rational man, then, keeps death near, not as a terror, but as a tutor. He whispers to himself, this may be my last meal, let me eat with gratitude. This may be my last meeting with my friend, let me speak kindly. This may be my last labor, let me do it well. By such remembrance, each act gains dignity, each hour weight. He does not waste time in trivialities, for time is a treasure he knows he cannot hoard. But if death is certain, what of legacy? Do not misunderstand. Legacy is not statues, not songs, not your name carved into marble. These fade, empires crumble, languages die, stones are ground to dust. True legacy is the effect of your virtue upon other souls. Did you teach courage by your example? Did you show patience in adversity? Did you leave kindness that ripples through generations unseen? Then you have left a legacy. A man who governs only himself may inspire a city. A woman who endures suffering with dignity may strengthen a nation. These legacies do not require crowns or armies. They require only fidelity to reason and virtue. Think again of Cincinnatus. His name survived not because he ruled, but because he relinquished rule. Think of Leonidas. His body fell, but his courage stirred Greece to unity. Think of Socrates. Athens silenced his voice, yet philosophy echoes it still. Their legacies live not in marble, but in men. So ask yourself, student, when I am gone, will the world be more rational, more courageous, more just because I lived? Or will it be no different? That is the measure of legacy. Philosophy does not exile you from life. You are not a monk of the desert, you are a man among men. Therefore, reason must govern not only your inner self, but your dealings with others. As a friend, be steady. Do not flatter, but do not wound without cause. Speak truth gently when it is needed, and silence when it is wiser. Be the one whose presence calms, not inflames. Remember, better one honest companion than 100 sycophants. As a lover, be devoted, not enslaved. Desire is a flame. Let it warm, not consume. Do not treat passion as license, but as covenant. The rational man does not degrade himself in lust, nor does he freeze himself in coldness. He directs love into fidelity, tenderness, and shared virtue. Thus his household becomes a school of philosophy, where children see daily what it means to live nobly. As a citizen, serve. Do not sneer at politics as beneath you, nor worship it as salvation. Participate with temperance, remembering that the common good is the soil in which your own good grows. Do not seek office for pride, but accept it if called, as Cincinnatus did, ready to lay it down when duty is done. The city is not perfected by laws alone, but by citizens who live as examples. Now let us sharpen one final tool, self-examination. Each night, before sleep, withdraw into yourself as a general into his tent after battle. Review the day. Where did you march with reason? Where did you desert to passion? Where did you serve others? Where did you serve only vanity? Do not excuse yourself. Excuses are the lies of the coward. Do not condemn yourself harshly. Condemnation without correction is the whip of the tyrant. Judge yourself as a physician, judges a patient, clearly, with concern for healing. Resolve to do better tomorrow. This practice, repeated, will refine you as fire refines gold. And now, student, let us close, for the hour grows long. Yet let these words linger, as fire lingers in embers. You are not lost, You are unshaped. Your path is not hidden in stars, but built by each step of reason you take. Failure is not ruin, but tuition. Trials are not enemies, but trainers. The animal within is not your foe, but your steed. Bridle it with reason, and it will carry you far. Power is not dominion over others, but mastery of self and service to mankind. Death is not a terror, but a reminder. Legacy is not stone, but the echo of your virtue in the souls you touch. Rise each morning with gratitude. Live each day with discipline. Meet each trial with courage. End each night with reflection. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Thus will your life become a hymn of reason, a fortress of virtue, a light for those who follow. And when death at last calls, you will go not as a slave dragged from the banquet, but as a guest who, having eaten with dignity, rises willingly and thanks the host. Live, then, as a rational man. Live as a citizen of nature. Live so that the world, however small your portion, is better for your presence. This is the path. This is the purpose. This is the freedom no tyrant, no fortune, no death can take away. I see you are still hungry for knowledge, student. Fine. Let me then take the role of Socrates for a moment, who did not lecture as a tyrant of words, but as a midwife of the soul. Let me question you, as he questioned the Athenians, so that your own mind gives birth to truth. You say you are lost. Tell me, what do you mean by lost? Is it that you have no path? Or is it that you have many paths and know not which to choose? If a traveler stands before 3 roads and says, "I am lost," is he less lost than the man who wanders in a wilderness with no road at all? Which are you? You say you lack purpose. But purpose, what is it? Do you imagine it a treasure buried in the earth, waiting to be discovered? Or is it a statue to be carved from the marble of your days? If it is treasure, then fortune is cruel, for not all diggers find it. If it is a statue, then you are the sculptor, and each choice is your chisel. Which is more fitting? You say you fear failure. But tell me, what is failure? Is it the blow itself, or your judgment of it? If a child falls learning to walk, is he ruined or trained? If an archer looses an arrow and it misses, has he failed, or has he learned how to aim? If you call every stumble ruin, then indeed you will always fail. But if you call it tuition, then failure is not your enemy, but your tutor. Which student will you choose? You say it is hard to live according to nature. But what is harder? To live against it. Can you drink without thirst, eat without hunger, sleep without weariness, and find joy? No. To live against nature is slavery. To live with her is liberty. Why then do you resist what is your own essence? You say your instincts are too strong. But what is stronger, the horse or the rider? Alone, the horse may run wild, but with a rider, it wins races, carries burdens, serves its master. Your instincts are horses. Will you be thrown, or will you learn to ride? Do you see, student, how the soul answers itself? Philosophy is not the giving of doctrines, but the sharpening of reason until it can question its own passions and cut through their illusions. Socrates drank the poison, but Athens still cannot silence his voice, for he taught not conclusions, but the art of asking the right questions. Learn to ask yourself, and you will never be lost again. Men often learn more by stories than by syllogisms. Let me give you myths as mirrors, so you may see yourself reflected. Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to men. For this, he was chained to a rock, his liver torn daily by an eagle. What is the lesson? Fire is reason. To possess it is both a gift and a burden. Reason frees you from darkness, but it also condemns you to responsibility. To be rational is to be Prometheus, chained to duty, suffering for the gift you bear, yet knowing mankind is brighter because of you. Heracles was tasked with labors impossible: slay the Hydra, clean the stables, capture the beasts. Each task seemed absurd, yet each trained him, strengthened him, purified him. What are your labors, student? The hydra of your anger, the Augean stables of your desires. Each task that seems cruel is actually the god's gift, for in striving you become greater than yourself. Consider the myth of Icarus. He flew with wings of wax, but flew too near the sun and fell. Do not despise him for falling. He dared to rise, but learn from him. Ambition without discipline leads to ruin. Let reason be your Daedalus, guiding your wings, lest you burn in pride or drown in despair. Do not imagine, student, that philosophy demands you conquer nations. Greatness is not measured in size of deed, but in fidelity to reason. A man who governs an empire but cannot govern his lust is small. A man who sweeps a floor with diligence and kindness is great. Seneca wrote, "A life is long if it is full, full not of years, but of virtue. A child may surpass an emperor in greatness if he endures pain with courage, while the emperor quails before gossip. Therefore, do not despise your station. Whatever your place, you may live nobly." And so, student, we come to the end of this long march. Let me gather all in one final call. You are born into a world not of your choosing, but of your shaping. Fortune gives you body, parents, time, trials. What you do with them is yours. Be not clay tossed by circumstance, but potter shaping clay with reason's hand. You are pulled by instincts, but you are not their slave. They are steeds, bridle them. You are tested by failure, but you are not broken. Trials are hammers, endure them. You are tempted by power, but you are not deceived. Power is stewardship, use it. You are stalked by death, but you are not conquered. Death is nature's law, accept it. Rise each dawn with gratitude. Walk each day with discipline. Meet each insult with patience. End each night with examination. This is the path. Not glory, not riches, not ease, but peace of soul, liberty of mind, virtue of life. And when the hour comes, and it will, that you must leave the banquet of life, do not cling like a drunkard dragged from the table. Rise with dignity. Say, I have eaten, I have drunk, I have spoken, I have lived. The feast is over. I go now, where all must go. I thank the host. This, student, is the way of the rational man. This is the harmony with nature. This is the freedom no tyrant can chain, no fortune can steal, no death can end. Go now, and live not as one asleep, but awake. Let reason be your compass, virtue your path, trial your teacher, death your reminder, and legacy your echo. Be steadfast in your mind, disciplined in your actions, and compassionate in your dealings. Live as a guardian of your own soul, a servant of the common good, and a citizen of nature's great city. Live so that when the end comes, you rise willingly, with gratitude, saying, I have lived in harmony with what was given. The feast is complete. I thank the host. This is the way of the rational being. This is freedom. This is peace.